20 minutes. All right, my name is Brad, and I'm here with Jocelyn, Amelia, Kaylee, and we're going to talk about the Shepherd Shelters Transitioning Program. This program is a pilot program that we're going to integrate spirituality into our treatment program. Our mission, our focus is a faith-based, drug-free program that provides safe housing, training, nutrition, and transportation for homeless single females ages 18 to 25 years old that has been awarded of the courts, and not just the awards of the courts, but also dealing with I don't know, drug trafficking, anything that helps the kids out. I think that's what's important to us. Our mission is to inspire young ladies to sharpen their qualities, strengthen their beliefs in prosperity, and embrace the calling of divine, virtuous womanhood, and help them establish lives as leaders within themselves, their homes, and their communities. Our vision is to establish hope for a better future, inspire faith in overcoming challenges, and demonstrate love through this journey. Many of our children missed out on the fundamental training needed to cope in our society as adults. Purification is a term used when children struggle to take care of their parents, siblings, and themselves due to unfortunate circumstances and situations that hinder the stages of their development through emotional, physical, and cognitive traumatic experiences. And this is coming out of Doradorous ETL 2023. Our shelter aim is to teach young women basic life skills, job attainment skills, financial responsibility, and healthy nutritional habit skills. Our staff objectives is to ensure that integrating spirituality as an intervention in residential treatment planning and educating and in identifying reinforces spiritual techniques to ensure program outcomes. Our shelter's staff strives to treat residents with dignity and worth and caring and respectful approach, acknowledging and understanding the where of each individual traditional and spiritual diversity, and acknowledge their beliefs and practices. This is from the NSW 2021. Our strategy is to introduce them to the code of ethics and spiritual competencies governing our agency. We take pride in the intake screening process because for this is where they could tell if they're wanted to be part of our program to see if they're a good fit for our program or are we a good for them. The next step is this consent of service. We'll sign a contract between us to let them know that this is a spiritual guidance program directing and also in their treatment planning. Our comprehensive biopsychosocial assessment is is centered on their beliefs, where their resources are at, identifying these key areas to help solidify their beliefs, to help solidify their goals and what direction and how staff could best serve them and help them. Our treatment plan is tailored to the individual uniquely, their needs, their wants, and their desires. So our goals and objectives are intertwined with our mission and our vision. Our group rules, house rules is, and this is where our staff comes in and plays an important part of that because we accepting all people from different diversities, different cultures, and to let them know that we're accepting everyone and we will respect everyone. So our group rules are tailored around each individual's spiritual beliefs, because one time we might have somebody want to do some meditating, the other one to do praying, what types of food they eat. It all depends on how we're going to establish our group rules. And this brings us up to Kaylee.
All right, guys. Like you said, my name is Kylie. Before we go into the various religious and spiritual backgrounds that our clients at Shepherd's Transitional Program represent, we're going to discuss the two concepts of religion and spirituality. Religion and spirituality, they are distinct, but they're also connected in many ways. In order to deliver client-centered and culturally competent services, it is very important to understand what the two are. So first is religion. Religion is kind of easier to define opposed to spirituality. Religion is an external entity, which is something existing outside of oneself. Um, it refers to institutionals and organized groups that promote a structured system of doctrine, beliefs, and customs that are a form of truth to them. Religion plays a significant role in spirituality since it is a key source of spirituality expression for many people. My reference for this slide is the Dudley textbook. Now we are going to move on to the next slide, which is examples of religion. And some of them include, will you go back to the examples of religion, please? Oh, yes, sorry, that was my mistake. So there's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Unitarianism, Buddhism, Hinduism, paganism. Um, so Christian faith centers on beliefs regarding the birth, life, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Some Christianity groups include Catholics, Pentecostals, Baptists, Lutherans, and Jehovah Witnesses. Islam is the religious faith of Muslims. Unitarianism is a non-Trinitarian sect of Christianity. Buddhism was developed from the teachings of the Buddha. Hindus worship a number of different gods and minor deities. Buddhists and Hindus both believe in reincarnation. And then pagans also worship many gods. Some of their practices include ecology and witchcraft. So now we're going to talk about spirituality, which is a little bit harder to define compared to religion. It's broader and more elusive. It can be defined in several ways depending on the individual. It's an inner person's quality. One definition that our textbook mentioned is it refers to seeking meaning and purpose in life, feeling a connection to oneself, others, and the world, and having the capacity to go beyond our present experience to something greater, something that many people would believe to be a higher power beyond human power. Spirituality can be expressed in a variety of ways. On the next slide, I'm going to go into more detail of those different ways. It is critical to recognize that many of our clients may not be religious and that their spirituality is just as significant, meaning it's manifesting itself in different ways. So someone can be religious and not spiritual, or someone can be spiritual and not religious. Everybody has their own spirituality, and whether or not they identify as religious, they have the capacity to cultivate it. So some examples of spirituality include, but not limited to just these on the screen, are meditation, prayer, yoga, spending time in nature, art, listening to music, journaling, serving others. And so that brings us to the religious and spiritual backgrounds represented by our clients. Um, Everyone is welcome because everyone belongs. Our organization is open to all individuals, regardless of their religious or spiritual beliefs. Differences in beliefs will be accepted and respected by our staff and other people who go or who are in our agency. We acknowledge that every individual's path of faith is unique and influenced by their individual experiences, beliefs, and values. We are very proud to offer a safe place and support to single homeless women with diverse spiritual and religious backgrounds.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the relevance of integrating spirituality and religion into this program. So it has become increasingly apparent through our studies that integrating spirituality and religion can be a vital part of social work practice. In fact, in 2023, a study conducted by the Pew Research Center found that 70% of adults in the United States consider themselves spiritual in some way. Um, and so the act of integrating spirituality and religion into the healing journey of clients can foster strength, hope, and resilience, according to the Scales and Kelly text from 2020. And with this in mind, it's important to realize that a lot of our clients are going to have some form of spirituality in some way, shape, or form. And this is relevant specifically to the Shepherd Shelter, as a majority of the women will hold some form of spirituality. And it is also relevant to the personal situations of the women coming to the shelter, as a study was done concerning the religiosity among adults who are chronically homeless. That study found that at the 1 year follow-up, those who had gained faith reported doing more volunteer work, being more engaged in community activities, as well as having a higher quality of life. Whereas those that lost their faith did not show those gains. And it showed that those who experienced a large gain of faith had better mental health ratings than those that reported a large loss. And so the integration of spirituality and religion for the women at Shepherd Shelter provides them with a secure foundation on which to rebuild their life. And now we can talk about the ethical issues that would come with this program. So the first ethical issue to consider is cultural competence and social diversity, which refers to Section 1.05 in the NASW Code of Ethics. This program is faith-based. However, social workers must respect and serve residents from diverse religions, cultures, and non-religious backgrounds according to this standard. Uh, Another standard we need to talk about is self-determination, which is Section 1.02. As all residents of the Shepherd Shelter will have the right to make decisions about their own lives and beliefs. And the self-determination standard in the NASW outlines how social workers must respect and promote clients' self-determination, even when it differs from the values of the agency. The third to consider is confidentiality and privacy, which is Section 1.07. The residents that are in Shepherd Shelter are likely dealing with very sensitive issues such as custody, trauma, or housing instability. And the NASW standard on privacy and confidentiality lays down strict guidelines for how this should be handled by social workers. Informed consent, which is Section 1.03, outlines the importance of clients knowing exactly what's going on. So within the intake of Shepherd Shelter, clients must understand that there's a faith-based nature to the services they're going to be receiving, and they will be able to withdraw at any time. And finally, another ethical concern to consider is competence, which is Section 1.04. So it is our belief that staff must be confident at integrating religion and spirituality into practice to remain in accordance with this code. So at Shepherd Shelter, staff must be trained and qualified to work with trauma, poverty, child welfare systems, and spiritual issues through a faith-based lens, as it is a faith-based program. So to address these issues, we have a special staff training. So to address cultural competency and social diversity, our training teaches our workers how to integrate faith values without imposing beliefs on our clients. It also teaches our social workers how to recognize and affirm a client's spiritual and cultural traditions. For self-determination, our training program helps staff empower clients to choose their own parenting paths, life goals, and their level of spiritual engagement, even if they differ from the main beliefs of the shelter. Confidentiality and privacy. Our training will address our strict confidentiality protocols for sharing client information. This is especially important because they will be living in a group living setting, and there will be faith-related discussions, both of which can bring up some very sensitive information that our staff needs to be prepared to keep private. Informed consent. Our training will prepare our staff to clearly explain the voluntary participation, the scope of services, and the religious framework of the Shepherd Shelter Transitional Living Program, both during client intake as well as throughout client care. And finally, for competence, our staff training will provide ongoing professional development in both trauma-informed care, child welfare law, cultural humility, and faith integration, so that our staff can be as well prepared and as competent as they can be with all the issues they will be addressing for our clients in this setting.
My name is Emilia Tabu, and I will be talking about staff concerns regarding spiritual interventions. So the first concern will be personal beliefs and comfort level. So engaging clients from diverse spiritual backgrounds may be uncomfortable for staff who hold strong personal beliefs about their religious and spiritual practices. So members may fear imposing these beliefs on clients by attempting to convert them to their religion, as stated by Gertley, 2016. And I would say staff members may also fear of offending clients who may hold contrary views on certain life skills. So, for example, parental discipline is a possible area of conflict. Clients who are from Christian backgrounds, for example, may argue that the Bible in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24 states that he that spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. And this is from the New King James Version. And so having that kind of conflict with clients for members who may be conflict avoidant, it may be an uncomfortable situation for them. So the second concern will be time constraints. So learning new ideas in training or implementing interventions takes time. So introducing a spiritual assessment and intervention training may be perceived as an additional task, and staff members who may be struggling with a heavy caseload may have, a difficult time completing the task in a timely manner. And then with regards to insufficient knowledge about clients' religious and spiritual beliefs and practices, learning about the diverse religious and spiritual practices of clients and engaging them in a spiritual competently or in a competent manner takes time and experience. So staff members who may not be familiar with some of these practices may feel inadequate. And then what can be done to address these concerns? So we'll move to the next slide. I would say the first will be to practice self-awareness and seeking interventions, seeking supervision. So awareness of their personal beliefs and practices, and being conscious when these beliefs are being imposed on clients is very important. And also seeking supervision from colleagues and from supervisors on how to heighten their sense of self-awareness, and also setting boundaries will be very important as well. So it would also be important to honor clients' right to self-determination. And this has to do with understanding that clients have a right to decide what they want in the decision-making process, and that, if these rights are not harming themselves, if they're not infringing on the rights of others, then members have the right to respect the client's right to self-determination as stated in the National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics. So providing access to training would also be vital because having that free access would give staff members an opportunity to always, log on to these trainings, whether in mobile or desktop format, and it would help them to, refresh their minds on the content of the training. And then with regards to organizational support, I would say staff or upper management can encourage staff members to practice self-care, and which will help them to avoid burnout. And some examples of self-care practices include taking a walk in nature, listening to music, and just taking a day off. And also providing moral support and appreciation from upper management. It will be a great motivation for members to tackle heavy course loads. So we've come to the end of this presentation.
Mhm.